What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. As the title suggests, today we're telling the story about my childhood obsession with Hermione Granger. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this is a bad one, man. So the story starts, I was about 8 years old at the time, and my parents took me to the movie theater to see Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And everybody knows who's in that movie. Hermione Granger, man. Played by Emma Watson. And I went into the movie thinking, oh, it's a cool movie about wizards, whatnot. I had no idea how much my life was about to change because of this movie. When I saw Hermione Granger on the screen, something unlocked inside my body and my brain that I had never felt before. And that feeling was true, absolute, unapologetic love, man. But it wasn't only that. It was a complete obsession. I'd never felt this type of emotion before. Obviously, I knew it existed, even as a child. But this overtook my entire life. All I could talk about around school or my family or my friends, anybody, was just Hermione. Hermione this, Hermione that. No, there was no other topic on my mind. If somebody was eating an apple at lunch, I would be like, oh, that reminds me of the time that Hermione ate the apple in the grand dining hall. I love her so much. I would literally just walk around and tell people I love Hermione. Hey, how you doing? I love Hermione. Before I even told them my name. So people started to take notice to this, and especially my parents, but I'll get to that later. I went over to my friend Joey's house one day after school, and his big brother was there, and he had a couple of his friends over. So they decided they were going to play a little trick on me. So basically what happened was I was chilling in the video game room or whatever, just minding my own business, probably thinking about Hermione. And Joey comes up to me and says, hey, man, you got a phone call. He's got his house phone in his hand. I said, oh, for real? I said, well, who is it? Is it my mom or what? He goes, nah, dude, it's Hermione. And my brain just exploded. I instantly believed it. And I said, oh, man, are you for real? Yeah, bro, it's Hermione. I answer the phone. It's clearly a teenage boy trying to impersonate a British girl. But I still said, man, I still think it's Hermione. You know, there was a couple of moments in my mind where I was like, this sounds kind of weird. Or I hear somebody like giggling in the background. But I just kept mentally pushing through because I wanted to believe it that bad. That the Hermione Granger from Hogwarts was on the phone with me, the real one. So I ended up walking around the house talking to who I thought was Hermione on the phone, and Hermione told me that they were going to invite me to Hogwarts the next day and have a big feast for me in the Grand Hall. And I distinctly remember being so hyped. I was so excited. I couldn't wait to tell my parents. I was going to go home, pack my bags for Hogwarts, gonna stop by, Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade rather, pick up my new wand, my cauldrons, my spell books. Man, I was ready to go. So I was so excited that Joey's mom asked me what I was so hyped about, and I let her know I was on the phone with Hermione. And she goes, oh, really? And I said, yeah. She said, give me the phone, let me talk to her. I said, all right. So I gave her the phone, and apparently the kid said something to her, and she goes, oh, it is Hermione. So once she said that she believed it, I really believed it. I don't know why she didn't shut it down, immediately, but maybe she thought we were just having fun, like, we were LARPing or something. But I was so excited, and here comes the big moment. That's when Hermione on the phone told me, I love you. I will never forget those words. I remember exactly where I was. I was in the kitchen. I was standing in the kitchen by the phone stand when quote-unquote Hermione said, I love you. I remember distinctly literally jumping up and down for joy and screaming. And, seriously, literally jumping up and down yelling, she loves me! She loves me! She said she loved me! And then I went over to Joey's mom. I was like, she said she loves me! And she was like, oh, good for you, Paul! I still don't know why she was in on the joke, or didn't shut it down, rather. And then there came to a point where I was walking upstairs, and I was still on the phone. We were talking about, me coming to Hogwarts, probably what classes I was going to take, or just me getting to know her. And then I heard a voice of a young man coming from the bathroom. And I realized that the voice of this young man was the same voice as Hermione. And as I was talking on the phone, what I was hearing from the phone was exactly what I was hearing from the bathroom. So I was like, oh man, it might be a joke after all. So I plowed open the bathroom door. Actually, like, I think I shoulder rammed it, or just, I forcefully opened it. And there's the Joey's brother and his 3 friends sitting there. They have the flattest expressions I've ever seen on someone's face in my life. I have no idea how they kept their cool. It looked like they were watching a documentary about ancient sand. They looked stone cold bored. And I was like, I hear you guys talking on the phone. They're like, what are you talking about, bro? We're just chilling in here. There's 3 guys chilling in the bathroom. So I was like, no, I'm searching this place. I to this day, I have no idea where that phone was. I was looking through the cabinets. I looked through the dirty laundry hamper in the bathroom. I asked them to get up. They got up. I even tried checking the back of some kid's pants. I was literally putting my hand down the back of his pants trying to find this phone. And luckily, well, he said, whoa, get out of my pants. And I was like, dude, I need to know if you're faking it. And then he's like, we're not faking it. We're not faking it. Get out of here. Leave us alone. These kids were like 3 or 4 years older than me. So I walked out, and I was still on the phone. So I said, hey, Hermione, I'm back. I start hearing them talking in the bathroom again. I instantly bust right back in the bathroom. Same scene. They're all sitting there flat-faced. I have no idea where the phone is. And they say the same thing. Bro, we don't have it. Leave us alone. And I was like, you know, my little 8-year-old brain was so mentally confused at the time. I just didn't know what to do. So I went out there and started talking to her. Eventually hung up. And then Joey comes up to me about 10 minutes later. I'm basking in my euphoria. I can't wait to go to Hogwarts the next day. And I can't wait to meet the love of my life, Hermione. And then Joey comes up and says, hey, Paul, man, I got to keep it real with you, dog. We were just messing with you. It was Tony on the phone, my brother. And this, I was devastated. I actually started crying. I actually, real tears. I was crying in Joey's house because I felt so betrayed and I felt so hurt that I wasn't going to meet Hermione. And I went, and you know what? I went and I snitched on him. I snitched on all of them to Joey's mom. Joey's mom ended up kicking all his brother's friends out of the house almost immediately and scolded Joey very sternly and called my mom to come pick me up and take me home. So then my mom comes and picks me up in the car. I'm crying. She's wondering why I'm crying. I explained to her I thought I met Hermione and I was going to go to Hogwarts. And she felt really bad for me, so she took me and my sister out for ice cream, which dulled the pain a little bit. But this isn't even close to the end of the story. So I got to the point where my obsession continued and only began to grow stronger, that I convinced myself that maybe if I sat in my closet for a while, I would be able to spawn into the Hogwarts world. So I remember sitting in my closet for like 30 minutes. I just sitting there, oh man, I hope this works. No logical reason why it would work, but I remember just thinking, I really hope this works, man. I really want to go meet Hermione. I would have smashed my piggy bank and donated every cent I had and then taken out a loan just to be within a 5-mile radius of Hermione Granger at this time. So lo and behold, I walk out of the closet after 30 minutes, and there's no Hogwarts there. It's still my room, and I get really mad. And you know, I go up to my mom and I tell her I'm really upset. I just want to go to Hogwarts. And my mom was, you know, didn't want to completely shatter my soul and tell me that Hogwarts wasn't actually real. So she was like, well, in the movies you have to be 11 years old to go to Hogwarts. So maybe when you're 11 you'll be able to go. And I was like, that's 3 years from now, Mom. And she's like, those are just the rules, that you have to be 11 to go to Hogwarts. And I was just, I couldn't figure out what to do. Well, then, one day, my dad comes home with a voice recorder. And he gives it to me as a present. Excuse me, I burped. I don't know why, but he decided to pick me up a little voice recording machine as a present. And said, here you go, Paul, you could have fun with this. You know. Well, guess what the first thing I recorded was on my new voice recorder? I basically made a song about how in love I was with Hermione. It was just like a ballad, a love track of just how much I loved her. I think the lyrics were just like, I love Hermione, I love Hermione, I love her so much, or something. It was, it's a song an 8-year-old would make. Well, I saved it and I kept listening to the song just to, experience the romance of me singing to myself of how much I was in love with Hermione. But then the voice recorder stopped working. And at that point, when the voice record, by the way, I want to apologize. The video cut out. Had to restart it. At that point, when the voice recorder stopped working, I knew I was gonna have to go talk to my dad to see how it could get fixed. But the problem was my little humdinger there was on the voice recorder, and I didn't want him to hear me singing about how much I loved her. But I had to go get it fixed. So I walked downstairs and said, "Hey man, this thing's not working. Can you please mess with it?" So he starts taking out the batteries. He puts them back in, and the device comes back on. I'm like, okay, well, let me get it back. I got it. He's like, well, hold on. Let's make sure it still works. Let's make sure there's nothing more wrong with it. So he starts pressing around the buttons, and I know he's about to hear it. And then before you know it, he finds the voice recording and says, well, let's try it. Pushes it, and then in full volume, just me and my dad standing there, my little Hermione love song came out, and my dad listened to the whole thing, and then it stopped, and then there was just a moment of silence. We were both standing there, and I look at my dad, and he just looks at me. And we just stare at each other in silence for about 5 seconds, and he just hands me the voice recorder, and I just ran upstairs completely embarrassed. So, that's pretty much what the voice recorder was used for, was just me talking about Hermione. Now, at this point, I did mature a little bit. I started calling her Emma instead of Hermione because Emma Watson is the actress. So, I grew up a little bit there. I started referring to my love for Emma other than Hermione. So, what happened next was my dad and mom bought me a Harry Potter magazine because they knew how much of a fan I was of it. And I don't know if this is going to be completely obvious, but what I did was, when no one was looking, I'd go upstairs to my room, close the door, find the pictures of Hermione, and I just start making out with the picture. I mean, I would sit there and I would talk to it. I'd talk to the picture of Emma. I'd kiss it. I would just hug it, snuggle the picture of Emma Watson against my chest, and just long to be with her. Just, continued this behavior, which is a bit strange, but that didn't stop me there. I told my mom I needed a pair of scissors, and she said, "Why?" And I said, "Well, I want to cut out the pictures of Emma, and I want to hang them up in my room so I could kiss her goodnight every night." And at this point, my mom realized that this could be getting a little bit out of control, and she did tell me it was strange. And, but I said, "Oh, no, I just love her so much." So what I did, I ruined the magazine. My mom gave me the scissors. Probably shouldn't have, but gave me the scissors, and I cut out the picture of her, and I taped it against my wall, and I started kissing it on the wall throughout the day. I'd be walking through my room or the house. I'd just stop in, give the picture a kiss, make out with it a little bit. But at nighttime, I wanted to kiss her goodnight, say goodnight to her. So I kissed, eventually my saliva started ruining the picture, and it was getting all scrumpled up from me shoving my face into it all the time. And eventually it got ruined, and I had to take it down, and I was pretty sad. So as you can see, it was getting pretty out of control, and I'm going to tell you right now, the next part of the story, I am not looking forward to telling this next part of the story. This was the magnum opus of just... It is very, very embarrassing, but I will do my best to tell it. So I had this diary, and it was a Harry Potter diary. And what I would do was, in this Harry Potter diary, is when, I would go in my room at night, close the door, sit down at my desk, and I would write literal fan fiction about Emma and I. And this is around the time that Call of Duty Finest Hour came out for the GameCube, so I was really into Call of Duty. So I ended up writing a fan fiction about how I was a soldier being drafted into World War II, and how Emma didn't want me to leave home to go fight in the beaches of Normandy. But, you know, in the fanfic, I still had to go fight the war. So I guess, you know, I guess that's kind of where the story stopped there for that little piece of diary history. But the next part, man, is when I had a dream, okay? And in this, this is very difficult. In this dream, I was at some sort of like political rally or like a summer fest or some sort of big outdoor event. And in the dream, there was Emma Watson standing there. And for some reason, she was wearing like a, what do you call it? Like a, I don't know, like a halter top, like the high-waisted top. The top's where the girl's stomach shows. You know what I mean? So I noticed that she had a lot of armpit hair as well. So I don't know what went on in that mutation of the dream, but I was still excited to see her. And that is when she said the quote. I'm actually going to stop playing the game for this. That is when she said the quote that I will never forget and will ultimately always be integrated into my brain. And it goes verbatim like this. The words of Emma Watson. I see you are all staring at my big belly, but it's all about the thighs. Look at the thighs. And then I woke up. And I told my friends, I'd like to apologize for anybody that just had to listen to that. But then I told my friends at school, and they all made fun of me and said it was really cringy and embarrassing, which it was. And this kind of continued on for probably about a year. You couldn't believe how excited I was for when the Chamber of Secrets came out. But when I was about 9.5 or 10, my undying love for Emma Watson calmed down, and I kind of just resumed back into the normal state of life. I usually try to put a message or a lesson at the end of my videos, but I just don't have one for this one. This was just a weird childhood of experience of just me going insane over a movie character. So no message, no lesson, just something weird and crazy that happened that was very embarrassing. So I hope you enjoyed it. As always, thank you guys for watching the videos. Trying to post more, and just wanted to talk about this. So have a good day. Peace.